Hi, good morning, everybody. Vital Germaine. Morning tea time chat. Trauma. Let's talk about trauma. Especially as children, a lot of children experience trauma, and it manifests and it perpetuates and it shows up in our adult life, and we are restricted as a result. We have these intense limitations. And trauma, what does it do? It lowers self-esteem. It can sometimes be debilitating in the sense that you have trouble functioning. You don't fit into society, you feel unworthy, self-loathing, an inability to execute on a dream. And I compare that trauma to the impact of racism. Basically, racism, systemic racism, or any form of racism, is a collective form of trauma that is inflicted on a large group of people who all experience the same type of outcome. It can simply be, ouch, I'm trying to play. This is Kari, by the way. This is Kari. Kari is trying to get my attention. He wants to play. And then, of course, Kibo comes along and wants to join in the fun. And then I'm trying to do this little presentation. So, having experienced trauma, I know what it feels like and what it looks like, and I've also done intensive research to see how it is perpetuated throughout our lives. You feel unworthy. You have trouble executing on certain goals and dreams because you don't feel that you deserve certain things. You've been constantly reminded you're not good enough, you're not this, you're less. And that has an intense impact on our psyche as human beings. Trauma comes in different forms, and one of the ways that trauma happens on a collective level is through racism. So if I really compare systemic racism or any form of racism on the psyche of a group of people, minorities, blacks, it literally is like childhood abuse. You've been constantly made to feel, reminded that you're less, you're not good enough, you don't belong, you don't have the ability to become this, you're subhuman. And we're reminded on that on so many levels in life. As a kid, you go to school, and if you unfortunately are going to school in the inner cities, you might get teachers who look like you, who are ethnic, who are black. Otherwise, your teachers are Caucasian. And there's this constant, subliminal, subconscious reminder that you're different. You're different. You're not like us. The teacher is in a position of authority, of all-knowing, of knowledge and wisdom, and you look up to that person, but they don't look like you. And that perpetuates through high school, through college, through work. Your boss in a position of authority doesn't look like you. The president doesn't look like you, except for Obama, an exception. And basically you are reminded always, you're not worthy to have this position of authority, of power, of success. And that's what happens in abusive relationships. They are belittling you, keeping you small, making sure that your self-esteem remains minimized. Constant reminders, you're this, you're not good enough, little pokes at your self-esteem. That is abuse, rejection, neglect, making you feel invisible. That is abuse. And then everywhere you turn on the media, this is something that I experienced as a child. You turn on the media, and what are the images that are portrayed? For me, it was about Africans. I was born in Africa. I am actually the true African American. I'm an American, but I was actually born in Africa. But we were told stories of how Africans would dance in the rain and they lived in mud huts. That's very degrading. That's like telling a child from a young age, you're not good enough. Oh, you can't do that. You're not good enough. You're not worthy. You're less. That has a massive impact on the psyche of a child. And it's not easy to reverse. But the first step into reversing that trauma is one, that the child, the black person, the minority, the woman who's been a victim of sexism, the gay person who's been a victim of homophobia, is to understand the dynamic of that. They've told me that I'm less, then you've got to start convincing yourself that you're actually not. And that's really, really hard to do. The healing also needs to happen on the other side. The people who have been abusing you need to take responsibility and accountability of the abuse they have inflicted on you. Yes, I am sorry I did treat you poorly as a woman. I did view you as less. I'm sorry that I insulted you as a gay man, as a gay woman, and that I was afraid of you, and that I degraded you and kept you out of our group of straight men, the boys' club. And it's a collective effort. If we truly want to heal trauma in all capacities, it has to happen on both ends. Both people need to identify, acknowledge, and then be responsible for the part that they played. It's very hard for a child to overcome childhood abuse without getting a sense of justice in seeing the perpetrator pay for those crimes. So take that into consideration when you are trying to understand if racism exists, and more importantly, what is the result of racism.